And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, Sunday, post-Crown Jewel, so much wrestling this week. How are you?
I'm well. So much wrestling indeed, Brad. We were just talking for almost 2 hours
Yes.
before we finally hit the record button, which might be a record for us, which is pretty shocking to say, but doing so well. Happy for you for several reasons. Hope you're feeling better. I know you are on the mend, hopefully improving a little bit every day, but still recovering. So yeah, man, so great to be with you as always. It's another episode of GI. How are you doing? Fill me in.
Doing well. Gut punch city still, but it's other than that, it's good. It's great. We got a new car. We finally had the other car taken care of. The accident was September 15th. It is November 6th. So we went from the 15th all the way through October to November 5th before finally getting a car. We are super happy with it. It's a new Sorrento. Well, it's a used Sorrento. It is a used 2022 Sorrento. It's perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. We realized, like, the last car we got because we had to get this time because we had a little bit more for down payment, that we were able to get the car we wanted. So we're very happy with that. And it's a long-term investment. Tyler, I have an update for you. Last week or a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember now, we were talking about Legos. And yesterday we went to the in-laws house to celebrate the new car, show it to them, and have them check it out. And it was really great. It was the first day we got to see them since we all had COVID. So that was really nice. And we decided to go into the garage, and in the garage were all the Lego sets. And I told you before we were going through all of them. It was a grind because we were looking for the rest of my pirate ship. So the only Lego set that I wanted is this pirate ship that I had. It's circa 1991, 1990. And I was like, I don't really care all that much about the other stuff. It's great that I have it, but I don't really care all that much about it. And in the one bin that was easy to locate, it didn't have the label on the front. It had the label on the side, so they couldn't see it. Pulled it out and it was inside of a box. So all the parts, all the sales, all the stuff that was missing. So I'm stoked. I get to build a giant Lego pirate ship. It will eventually be somewhere up on this shelf, probably above on the top. I'm stoked, man. Like, that thing, if I sell it, it's worth like anywhere between $200 and $500. And it's probably not being sold, but it's it's an option. But I'm just thrilled that I finally found that. I reclaimed that part of my childhood that was missing. So super excited. And I have more that we found that I'll probably talk about later.
Oh man, that is amazing. You dropped this news on me live. I love this. This is great. Either you can't lose either way. It's either going to be a great addition to the room, or it's going to be a great revenue source for you. This is or both potentially if your plan comes to fruition. So I am so happy for you. Love when you find a piece of your childhood, especially one that could become profitable.
Yeah. I was going through Brett's my brother-in-law, some of his sets, and I'm like, he's probably going to be paying off his doctorate with all this stuff out here. Like, there was a lot. There was an X-Wing in there, and I was like, wow, that one's worth a little bit. That one's worth around anywhere between like $300 and $800. So it was I was like, man, you got Legos and Star Wars as a thing. People are going to want that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I'll talk about the other treasure I found that is older than I am. That was one of my things from my childhood later on in the show. But we have a lot to get to today. Tyler, I am absolutely ready for your WWE question.
That we do. Let's go. Well, speaking of big money, Brad, we know WWE travels to Saudi Arabia typically once or twice a year for these big money shows. And my first question of the day for you is related to Crown Jewel. So we witnessed another edition of WWE Crown Jewel over the weekend, Brad. The night's winners included Brock Lesnar, Damage Control's very own Io Sky and Dakota Kai, Drew McIntyre, The Judgment Day, The Usos, Bianca Belair, Roman Reigns, and of course we did see a Bray Wyatt promo.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, who do you think raised their stock the highest from Saturday's show? And if you say Logan Paul, I will not say you're wrong, but you may have to record the rest of this episode solo.
I mean, it's hard not to, Tyler. But
we're going there, aren't we?
No, I'm not going to do that. Because he did
well.
His stock. The thing I was going to say, Roman raised his stock the most because he carried that match. Logan Paul was great in those spots, but there were a lot of spots. They did the collar and elbow a whole bunch, and it all looked great. The Logan Paul pulled off a much better buckshot lariat than CM Punk did. It was good. It was crisp. It wasn't as good as Hangman's, but it was really good. And he's a freak athlete. He did a better cell phone spot than Austin Theory has. He's done.
He held on to the cell phone.
He didn't drop it. I was amazed.
That's how.
And
That's
apparently halfway through that match, he had torn his meniscus, his MCL, and maybe his ACL. So he wrestled injured for 15 minutes. So hard not to respect what he did out there.
So he had the torn meniscus when he did that jump.
Yes,
that was very impressive as well.
You could see when he was like going from one side of the ring. I knew that going into the match because I didn't watch until this morning.
Right.
So I was watching, and he would like tap 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 tap. He was staying off one of the legs a little bit.
He still nailed it.
He was still sprinting on it and stuff, and it was really good.
I guess you got to give it to him.
I don't know if anybody really raised their stock on this card. I think people just did really well, and there's not a lot of weak points here. The only thing I'll say that was weak is the booking in the end of that women's tag match. I thought was stupid. I hated the finish so much. I loved Bobby and Brock. It's exactly what I wanted from them. I wanted a Hoss fest, and that's what we got. I love that Bobby came out super aggressive, and he was getting booed. And
yes, why does Brock have to be the babyface so often? Brock cost Bobby the U.S. Championship. If this man cost me my title, I'm gonna try to beat him down at all costs. The love for Brock Lesnar, Hall of Fame talent, has done so much for the business, but him being booked to be this fan favorite, especially in this storyline, Brad, is just it's so annoying to me. I'm totally on Bobby's side here.
I was like, Tyler, it happened again too. Brock.
Yes,
Brock,
it did. Kofi, Biggie. It's just and clearly, I'm totally stealing your shine here, which I feel bad.
No, please do.
Clearly,
I don't have anything else to add.
Clearly, this is going to lead to a third match, maybe at Survivor Series, possibly more likely at WrestleMania, because we know Brock will be on the card somehow. Which again makes sense. Hall of Fame talent still draws. I get it, but yes, this is another example of what you're referring to. And I just thought it's wild that, like, wait, we're not. I know we're supposed to boo Bobby here based on how the match ended, but I think Bobby is totally within his right to want to inflict all pain on Brock, even if it's after a match, because Brock cost him. By the way, I forgot to say Braun Strowman also won. I didn't put that in my opener here. He beat.
I was actually going to bring that up because
I'm passing it back to you.
This is a really good opportunity, I think. Well, I guess between both of them, I thought this was probably, even though it wasn't a great match, I didn't think. I thought it was well put together for what it was. The Omos Strowman match. They were really building that he can't get Omos up until the very end. I thought that was cool. I thought it was good. I just not really a match for me. It's just two big lumberjacks punching each other. It was whatever. I'd rather see some more athleticism than just brute strength, but it was fine. That's like a classic big guy WWE match. So I was fine with it. I thought Omos, that was probably his best match. I can't think of a better match that he's had in the WWE.
Yeah, it looked good. I think Yeah, I think I've been higher on him throughout his career than most. I totally see his value, and I agree. Good showing from him.
Oh yeah, I absolutely see his value. It's just his selling and his character work in the ring early was god awful.
Oh
It was
yeah,
some of the worst stuff I've ever seen in my life. It has been so much better, and I thought in this match he did a really good job showcasing being injured and selling and taunting and all that stuff. I thought that was really good. Braun Strowman should not be going on Twitter to talk trash and
you
then
saw that,
spell
right?
grammatically like, ooh boy,
47
ooh,
stars.
you need 47 5 stars, I
Yeah,
think is what he said.
yeah. Thank you. 47
And I
five
was like,
stars.
from who? Um,
Did you see the Chris Jericho and Ricochet replies?
yes.
Okay.
Like he spent his time not only talking about how half of the people that he worked with aren't good wrestlers, basically, but by inferring that they shouldn't be employed, that they should work at grocery stores, as though that's not a job that's worth having. I just seems like an absolute dick. I can't believe that this guy is a baby face. If he fell off the planet tomorrow, I feel like we'd all be like, huh, just keep moving
Do,
on.
do you remember I used to have his cardboard cutout in my
Yes, of
classroom?
course.
I'm like, come on, bro. Like, bro, we had you in the classroom,
That was
man.
before he started talking.
I
Like now
yeah,
he's just
yeah. He had the hair and
controlling
the
his narrative,
ponytail.
and he's got that little rat thing on his head, and
Yeah,
um,
it's disappointing. And
he
and it would seem
he
like
looks
he's
great
not
now. Looks shredded.
exactly based on his character, as you brought up being one of the baby faces on SmackDown. It would seem as though this isn't even a part of his character on screen, or a tweak they're making to his character. It seems like this is just how he really feels about, um, quote unquote indie guys who
Yeah.
should be bagging his groceries.
Yeah, that's the part that I had a hard time with. And then you like posted at like a sign that said indie shit. And it's like you were in an indie shit. You started indie shit. He's like, no, it was a classy organization. It's like nobody wanted to work for you. Every event was garbage, and you hired trash for the most part. There's some good guys in there. I guess your best asset was Karrion Kross for that one show, and then the other shows people kept dropping out, or you couldn't run it. I just like he's pooping where he sleeps, man. Like you don't know how long that run's going to last in WWE. He got brought back, but I don't know what Hunter has planned for him. I don't know, man. Like he's a big dude, he's an attraction dude, but when the attraction runs out and he's just a big dude, what do you do with him? Because he's going to become Lance Archer. We'll just drag him out there every time we need a big guy and not actually have a storyline in there for him. So hopefully that's not the case, because WWE is so much better at booking big guys because they have big guys than literally anybody else, in my opinion. But man, it's just, why take out people like that? Like there's no reason to do it. And I don't know. I don't have any respect for him for that. I just like, he's not going to care. Like, what does my opinion matter? But like, my God, like why even do that? What do you say to all the women who also do all of those things he said are garbage? Is he going to go like, oh, that's different because they're women? Okay, so which one are you, an asshole or a sexist asshole? Because right now you're one of them. Do you want to be both? Because the women tend to do more high flying stuff. Did that entire tag team match just look at that and go, oh, that's not pro wrestling. That's not any good. That's flippy floppies or whatever he called them.
Yeah, that was it.
Get the hell out of here with that. I was heated when I read that this morning. And I was like, don't say anything. I'm going to get trolled. I know what's going to happen.
You had to say these audibly to yourself as you were scrolling Twitter.
Jess looked at
it's
me.
A good reminder.
It's wrong. Yeah. And I was like, nothing, idiots. And that was it. That was the end of it.
Shout out, Jess.
Yeah. And all I could think was like, my God, just spell something. Read your tweet. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense, bro.
He got in some hot water for this. Like you said, months and months ago, well before he returned to WWE, when he was, spreading this vitriol about quote unquote indie workers and blah, blah, blah. And so you would think he would learn, even if he truly feels this way, you would think to protect his own brand and image, it would be a good idea not to swim back in those waters. But this is just clearly something the dude is passionate about. He thinks he's right. And it's a really it's a really odd position to take. Because I think a lot of people kind of forgave him or simply forgot about those comments 6 months to a year ago. But him bringing that back up now off of a pretty huge win, probably the biggest win of his comeback thus far, just seems like one of those cases where maybe save it in your drafts, but don't hit send. It's just the what is the best outcome of this
Yes.
versus the worst outcome. I
You
don't think the best supersedes what the worst could be, which is, getting this.
Thank you.
Not that he cares because he's probably making good money, obviously, and has made good money, but I just don't think this is going to ingratiate him with the locker room or fans who contribute to his income.
The thing that sucks is that, and this is the last thing I'll say here, is that he does the bully thing. He's probably always been one of the biggest guys in the room, one of the strongest guys in the room, and there's no doubt in that. Like, the dude is a legit strong man.
Huge. Yeah, like 6'8".
Yeah, like he won
300
competitions
something
for
pounds.
lifting
Yeah.
heavy stuff. So, like, I mean, he's legit, and I get that, and I appreciate what he brings, and I appreciate what he is for the company. But, like, don't go on there and do that, because the next thing you know, you say one dumb thing, you're fired, and the only thing you can do is work indie shows, which is what you were doing. And he dug in so hard on the not working for an indie company that he made his own indie company and then said, "We're not indies, we're better than that." It's like, no, you're an independent. You are legitimately an independent wrestling organization, you dipshit. You empty-headed dumb bleep, as CM Punk would say.
Well,
but,
and he,
but Shinsuke's going to wrestle in Japan. Is that an independent? You want to say that to the freaking Great Muta and Shinsuke Nakamura? You're going to do that to them? Oh, you're going to go work for these indies?
right.
Get the hell out of here, man.
But before we leave Braun and thus Braun versus Omos, I know you want to touch on other parts of this card. And then I do want to hear who's number one for you. I think you said Roman earlier.
Oh, I got nobody. Like that. Nobody raised their stock. Nobody lowered their stock, I feel like.
If you even think about, say, Roman, right? Roman and Braun had this really popular feud a few years ago. And if you think about where those guys are at now, so Roman is obviously top of the food chain, like one of the faces of the company, if not the face. And Braun, who is really positioned to be one of the next guys, a legit main heavyweight title winner. He did win, but that was the weird WrestleMania, the COVID WrestleMania, where Roman didn't make it. So then Braun got it. He beat Goldberg. Yeah. You remember this. It was a whole thing. But if you just think about where those guys are positioned now, I could be totally wrong about this a year from now, Brad, but I don't see Braun capturing the undisputed or universal championship. He's an attraction, but I think he's just going to be maybe mid-card giant versus Roman, who I think uses his social media a bit savvier, and is the guy. I just think for Braun, I think for Braun, it's like, man, I think companies are just so sensitive about their social media and about how their talent is perceived that I just don't think Braun's doing himself any favors, because he was positioned to be possibly the guy. You had Brock, you had Roman, and I would put Braun right there. Yeah. But now,
total Vince guy, right? Like totally, like a Vince dream guy.
Now I just honestly don't see Braun, whether we're talking Survivor Series, Rumble, Mania. I don't know what his position is, but I don't see him in the main title picture. And I think stuff like this, tweets like this, are not helping him reach that. But maybe he doesn't even want to reach that point. Maybe he has other career goals.
I don't know what he's doing now. Like, what has his arc been? He came back as monster of monsters, whatever that is, ran down the ring, tripped, got back up, ran some more, and then he showed up the next week as like a merc. And then he just sort of randomly appears sometimes, and then he fought Omos. I don't know what are his goals? He's just the monster of monsters. I still don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Because
you fought a guy that was way bigger than you. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense.
I think there could be money in a Braun versus Gunther match. But I think there's interesting feuds for him to have. The tweets were just so disappointing. I thought it was a work, frankly. I asked myself, is this setting up an angle? But then I thought, based on his history and based on the typos, as you alluded to, this is just a guy telling us how he really feels about other wrestlers.
You have more experience here. I'm gonna have to go back and watch, but I don't remember him ever having a good wrestling match. I remember him having good big man matches, but not good wrestling matches. Like, I don't know if he's a technical wrestler. Gunther would run circles around him. And I think it would have to be like Gunther going in like, I can out-hoss you, and make that part of the storyline so that they have to work big to play to his strengths. Because otherwise it's just Gunther's really good. And Braun is kind of one-dimensional, and it's just a lot of shoulder tackles and suplex, power bombs, feats of strength things. But it's not like he's going to do any kind of exchange or put somebody in a submission. That's not just a headlock or
sure. Yeah,
sleeper.
I think at his height, the peak of his powers, so to speak, he was remembered for a lot of segments rather than matches.
Yeah.
He, like the stuff with Roman, involving an ambulance, and Braun obviously like flipping over trucks,
which was awesome.
I think that's where the money is. If you ask me, like, what's the signature Braun match, I'm sure there's one you could pick where he defeated Roman, but I remember his biggest match was against Brock, I think for the Raw Championship, and he ended up losing. I don't think that was Great Balls of Fire. I think Samoa Joe had the Brock match there, but Braun definitely had a match against Brock, and it was pretty good. But like you said, it was very formulaic, and he ended up losing in a big spot, which I think a lot of the fan base would write differently. I know I would have had Braun beat Brock, but obviously I have complicated feelings about Brock always being the guy. But at least Brock isn't in the title picture. That's good.
Yeah,
he's phenomenal. He just continues to beat some of my favorite dudes on the roster, unfortunately.
Final thing this time, I promise. I actually liked when I saw Braun come back. I was like, okay, it's a good fit. He's got a different look. I think it's good. I just don't want him saying stuff like that on social media, because it makes me not respect him, because he's just like burying half the industry. The industry isn't what it was 25, 30, 40 years ago. It's just not.
Yeah. It's like he transported from 99 or 2000. It's an odd position to have.
But even like,
there's no need for it.
No, but Steve Austin was like the biggest guy at that point, and he's a great technical wrestler. So it's just anyway.
Weird. Yeah, but Brad, looking at the rest of this card though, so we mentioned the Judgment Day, Drew, Usos, Bianca, etc. Bray. It sounds like for you, no one sort of exceptionally exceeded their stock, but the main players, the main faces of the company, just really, really stood their ground from Crown Jewel. Is that right?
Yeah, everybody was just good. It was a solid show. I thought the show was really good. I thought, aside from the finish of the women's tag, I thought the fact that I didn't really want to see Drew and Karrion Kross again, that match exceeded my expectations though, because I was drawn in by the end. So they did a good job of making me give a crap. And I loved the finish where it was really close. Kross had the 1 foot out, but wasn't quite all the way, and Drew dropped to the floor. I thought that was cool. But I mean, that feels like that's leading to a rubber match, which that's fine, but I'm kind of over it. I know it's to build Karrion Kross, but I don't need that. I'd like to see him wrestle other people. I think Kross Gunther would be fun. Yeah, man, I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought nobody really, besides Logan Paul, who did not shrink from the moment, I thought nobody really stood out in particular to me as, oh, I take that all the way back. I just remembered. We got to talk about Alexa Bliss. That hot tag when Alexa Bliss came in, just beating the ever-living shit out of both of those women. I feel like at that moment, she reminded everybody who the hell she is. Alexa Bliss coming in absolutely on fire, doing crisp offense, really crisp offense, not slowing down, crazy good cardio. That was awesome. That was my favorite. That might have been my favorite moment of the entire event. Because it was like,
okay, I'm not mad at that.
Well, we've had Alexa Bliss in matches, and we've had her do singles matches, but it's always been kind of like, that was fine. But we don't really know why she's there, like an Elimination Chamber where she was just back for a night and then gone for a month. It was just kind of dumb. Even though we love her, it didn't really make a lot of sense. And then we had that last night, and I feel like we're getting back like goddess Alexa Bliss. Much, much better. She's so much better than I think people give her credit for. Absolutely taken for granted on the roster and hasn't been used much. I feel like last night you can't ignore her anymore. She's got to be used more after that.
Yeah, and we're building to a feud with Nikki Cross
Yes,
versus Alexa, which I'm very intrigued by. There's a
absolutely
great
down.
story there.
Yep.
Like you said, both are I would say probably underrated talents in many respects. So yeah, man, I'm here for it. The name that I was thinking of though, in terms of raising their stock, maybe not a stock raise, but just a reminder of how otherworldly special they are, is the EST, Bianca
Yeah, I knew you were
Belair. Brett,
going there. Yeah.
another. This was another. Thank you. Yeah, very predictable.
The drone lips were a little weird, but it was still
Sure,
cool. Yeah.
sure. I'll be very brief here. Truly, this is another event where I predicted her to lose. I thought, okay, well, for sure Bailey's going to win now, especially when Io and Dakota retained. But they swerved me again. Bianca retains, which I am not mad at. We put so much effort and energy and time into praising Roman's run and just, for lack of a better term, acknowledging how special it's been and historic it's been. But man, I don't know the amount of days Bianca's been champion, but I think what she's doing, you just
Since
can't.
Mania, right?
Yeah, since Mania,
Yeah.
it feels like it's been longer. You just can't speak to how phenomenal she is, and considering she was never a champion in NXT,
That's crazy.
I think what they've done with her on the main roster when they finally like pushed her and got her going has been just exceptional. She's a face of the company. She is just so good at everything pro wrestling. I can't share my love for her enough, man. I think this is just another reminder of her and Roman are just that they're the two faces of the company right now, in my opinion, which I love.
Great points, man. I can't argue with that. I've been thinking about that a lot. And it does feel like it's been longer because she had that long run, but dropped to Becky at SummerSlam, feuded with Becky
Travesty.
until Mania, and then finally won it back. So
Yeah.
that story has been over a year, and it feels like her run has been that long, but there was that like 4 or 5 month gap in there where it was her trying to get it back from Becky.
Well said.
And then Becky turned face, but unfortunately immediately was injured. So I'm looking forward to that story when she gets back. And I know it'll be a while, but in the meantime, we get to watch her role as Cyndi Lauper in Young Rock, which is pretty cool. Cyndi Lauper is icon, man. Okay. So my question for you, Tyler: Randy Savage, Razor Ramon, the Honky Tonk Man. That's right. Chris Jericho, Mr. Perfect, Pat Patterson, Don Morocco, Pedro Morales. I don't know if you know where I'm going yet, but I have a feeling you do.
I think so.
Where does Gunther fit in the best IC title reigns when he finally drops the belt?
Wow. I knew you were going IC. Great names, historic names.
And I left out Brett, and I left out Sean.
There were many.
And Stone Cold and Owen
Zack
and
Ryder.
So many
Yeah.
Zack Ryder.
Well, okay. So first, I don't. Do you have an idea?
Sorry,
it's Matt Cardona. Zack Ryder is gone.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of when he's going to drop and who he's going to drop it to? Do you think we still have many more months?
I think we have to.
If we do, he could definitely be in that conversation. I mean, the guy is just supremely talented. And you talk about NXT to WWE crossover. He is an example of someone who has been booked so well over the last 6 to 8 months. Spectacularly. Yes.
It's probably the best booking of a call-up in, 5 years?
Yeah. And now
except for maybe, I can't even say except for maybe Bianca because they had that stupid SummerSlam drop.
Yeah.
So I can't think of anybody else that's been booked better than Gunther.
Yeah, and now that he has Imperium with him,
yes,
formally,
so
officially,
good.
There's so many storylines on SmackDown that you can run with. I mean, the Bloodline versus
SmackDown.
Imperium, Imperium versus Legado. These are all opportunities just sitting there. To answer your question directly, though, yeah, I mean, if this can go several more months, and we could have some really intriguing feuds and great matches. Yeah, Brad. At least I don't know historically. That's tough to say, but at least of the modern era of the last decade, we know the IC belt has been kind of an afterthought, and Gunther is making it not that way anymore. So of the last 10 years, man, I mean, Dolph had some good stuff with the IC belt. I think Dean Ambrose, now Jon Moxley, also did some cool things. But man, Gunther to me supersedes everything we've seen from the last few years of the IC belt. I think he would definitely be in the conversation with Morales, Jericho, Patterson, right? All the names you mentioned. I'm not sure he's overstepping them in terms of placement. That remains to be seen. But in terms of how special this could be, he is for sure in line with those guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know how long it'll be, and I don't know who's going to take it. I thought for sure it was going to be Sheamus.
Me too. Right? That's just like Bianca. I thought for sure Gunther was dropping that, but he didn't.
Well, for Bailey, I thought Bianca was going to retain, but
Really? Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Bailey's had the belt a bunch of times, and Bailey's the most credible threat that's not injured right now or mysteriously missing like Charlotte. There's like that's I don't know. I can't think of another woman right now that is in line to challenge Bianca other than Bailey. Who else? Who else is like appears to be ready right now? Shayna maybe, but she's not on the same show. So, yeah, man, I think oh my God, that match on Friday was so fun with Ray getting beat up a lot and then almost winning and
perfect SmackDown main event. Yeah.
I loved that he just lariated Mysterio's head off for the finish. Yeah. It was great. It was that pick one arm throw into the air and then hit him with the forearm or the lariat and just killed Ray. Great finish to that match. I love that it was just like he just gave him a clothesline at the end. Wasn't a clothesline from hell. It was just a Gunther clothesline, and that was enough.
Right.
But power bombed him several times. When Ray kicked out of that first power bomb, I was like, holy wow. Did not expect that. But Gunther getting really visibly frustrated with it was awesome. And it was such a good story they told in there because you always root for the little guy. I'm absolutely loving this run. And I think the important part here, Tyler, is that his run's been so good because of how everybody else has been built, not because of how Gunther's been built. It's just Gunther's there as this monster that hasn't lost, that is the ring general. Everybody else is like got their story. Ray's won. He's a legacy guy. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's one of the SmackDown originals, or at least one of the pioneers, not the original run, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, the pioneer. Yeah.
Yes, he's the SmackDown guy, and he always has been and always will be.
Yeah, The Rock, Eddie, Ray, absolutely.
Yes, and to have him in there was an easy story to tell. But Sheamus never winning that belt. Also a great story to tell. Like they've just been telling really great stories for why these matches are important, why they matter, the history behind why they want it. But they haven't really been doing that with Gunther. They've been doing that with their opponents, and then it's coming in that way. They did it initially with Gunther for that first week of Triple H taking over after SummerSlam when they did the video packages. I think it was after, it might have been before, for the US title. And Bobby Lashley talking about how important it is and how much it means to him. And then they did the package as well with Gunther. I just loved it so much. And it's ever since then, it's been about his opponents. And that's been great. Masterful job booking the mid-card titles since Triple H has taken over. But Gunther's run has been just next level incredible. Like, I don't even know if I care if he's ever a world champ because I love him so much in this role. Mm-hmm. He's main eventing every week. He's main eventing the show every week. That's awesome. And he's defending the title every week. We're getting really legit title defenses by an absolute beast of a wrestler. I love it.
Yeah, phenomenal. And we have the good fortune of having seen him live.
Yes.
Which I think only increases our love for this guy. Yeah, we've seen his presence in person from mere, feet or yards away. So yeah, we know this guy. He is him. He is that guy.
It was pre-WWE main roster Imperium because it was just Kaiser there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was so good. Yeah, he was
blast.
Just special charisma, special presence. Yeah, we've seen this dude live. We've seen him on TV. He's bright future. I can't wait to see whenever he does drop the IC belt. I really think he will be elevated on the card. I could absolutely see him challenging Cody or whoever might be the top guy at that time.
He, last thing I'll say here, physically, he's a bit more chiseled, but maybe not a lot more chiseled. Like he's such a throwback wrestler. The dude looks like Blackjack Mulligan. Like body wise, he looks like Blackjack Mulligan. He's like the way that he is presented out there. And I don't know. I just love it out there that he's like a throwback to an older time, and he's just so good and engaging and entertaining. And I love it.
Yeah, unique, very unique.
You get a really sense of how big he is when he's standing next to Rey Mysterio too. I mean, because Rey's a little shorter than we are, but and we're short. Mm-hmm. So to see him just towering over Rey Mysterio was something, and to hear Rey weighing in at 175 pounds, and then Gunther's 255.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I know. This is just these are the matches I love. Rey Mysterio, arguably my favorite wrestler ever.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite Rey matches have always been against big guys. So I love everything that happened this past Friday on SmackDown for sure.
And you and I have been watching Rey for forever, from elementary school till now. And speaking of school, Tyler, speaking of school, it's time for our most popular segment of all time. That's right. Let's talk about what's going on this week in grad school. Tyler, why don't you kick us off? What's going on?
Yeah, man. Well, we're going to go 10 minutes on this, so I will take 5, and then I'll pass it to you for your 5.
Easy.
Yeah, actually, I think our programs are kind of aligning based on what I know about your week in grad school. So we are researching and discussing big data in my program. So we're thinking about the data that's collected on the internet from users, particularly through social media apps, and how much data is the proper data to be collected. So we're thinking about algorithms on a company side. So I think the whole goal is envisioning us as learning designers. My program is learning design and technologies. And a lot of the work isn't just book work. It's understanding the current climate of learning design, but then also completing these projects and answering these prompts as if we are learning designers, so that we're ready when we enter the field if we choose to go directly into this field. So like even as learning designers, what is the data you would want to collect from users? So what's neat is that, of course, we have our discussion posts. We use the Flipgrid app. So it's video responses, which I shared with you. I actually really love. So much better than the traditional like paragraph discussions, in my opinion. But we've had some assignments recently where we are to create like a presentation, and it's cool because we created a presentation where it was our voice over a slideshow, and not just a traditional PowerPoint slideshow, but we were actually using Adobe products to create this. So we got to use images and just kind of a little bit about what I know you do for GI for us here. So I kind of got my feet wet in that, which was really interesting. I have a long way to go, but I was like, wow, this is Adobe Express. I think Brad has told me about this. And
yeah, it rules.
There's just so much. There's like posters, infographics, Facebook banners, right? It's everything.
Yeah, I used it this week for school with myself.
Yeah, so we had to create a video. We're creating an infographic now based on a specific example of learning design that we chose from the field. So I'm looking at how Santa Barbara City College uses digital badges. I think I shared this with you on the inaugural edition of Grad School. How this college is using digital badges for their students and for their community to gain workplace related skills, whether it's Photoshop or navigating team dynamics. So anyway, man, I'm not going to go my full 5 minutes here, but no, we are not. I will just say that honestly, something I'm really enjoying is that it's less book work and definitions and more project-based assignments and questions related to, as a learning designer, what would you do in X scenario, Y scenario? So yeah, man, it's great, but I want to pass it to you because you've been doing some really incredible work in your program.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Another website, another app that I found is really good for infographics and those kinds of things is called Extensio. It's free. There's a premium option, but I'm not going to do that. It's pretty dope. It allows you to make things. I had to make a persona. I'm in a content strategy class, so we had to look at a nonprofit or an organization of any kind. I chose Jess's company because it's just starting, so it was really difficult to look at all of those things, but also it's a blank slate to look at all of those things. So it's not just who is your demographic, your key demographic. It's within that, create a person, not a persona that's just like a well, our typical customer is this or that. No. Give them a name, give them a background. Do they have kids? Where do they work? All of that based on a typical person. So you can look at all aspects of their life and their personalities to really engage them where they are, and try to bring them into your product. And it's not about just content like what we're doing right now. It's all organizations produce content. It can be a graphic, a social media post, an advertisement, just anything they put out on a website is literally all of this content. So how do you create a unified content strategy so you're sending out the same message in all places? So I got to make the persona, and then we made what's called pain statements, which is what are some potential hurdles or problems that might affect an organization if they don't do some certain things, and then what are their goals long term, and then how might those other hurdles get in the way of those goals, and take the persona and try to make an advertisement that addresses all of them. And today and tomorrow it's look at somebody's persona goal thing, whatever the content they created for that grouping, and then kind of critique it and send some suggestions or questions you have, and then hopefully make that better in the future. And I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm loving this. This is exactly what I was hoping for. I didn't know I would love content strategy. It might be what I focus on for the remainder of this for this program. Like I'm absolutely in love with it right now. But like you, less book work. There's some book work, but it's a lot of reading, and it's a great book anyway. So I'm good with it. And that's kind of it. It's a lot of hands-on stuff and a lot of discussions and commentary back and forth. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, man. Yeah, I know, like you, the thought of these programs is really exciting, but then we see the work that's due, discussions, assignments. It's like, okay, this is going to take a few hours from my week, but I'm so happy you're feeling fulfilled, and both of us are learning some really interesting topics. And man, I feel like it's so related to GI. Like sometimes I'll read what the week's content is, and I think, oh wow, this is very much related to what we're doing, every week here for the pod. So
agreed.
Super excited for you and excited for us.
Yes, likewise.
Well, Brad, it's time. AEW. Man, a lot happened this week on Dynamite and Rampage. As always, it is quite the task to come up with just one question for you, but I have done so, and I actually have a picture to send you via text message right now as I ask you this question. So this past week on AEW programming, the AEW World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator Tournament bracket was revealed. I probably made that name longer than it needed to be. So I just sent you the photo of the bracket in case you don't already have it. And my question for you is pretty straightforward here, Brad. We know the final matchup here, the finals are going to take place at Full Gear in a couple of weeks in New Jersey. And then the winner of that match will get a title shot at Winter is Coming. So my question for you, looking at this bracket, you probably know where I'm going. Who makes the finals? So what is the match at Full Gear? And who ends up getting the title shot at Winter is Coming?
Well, Ricky Starks. And then it's not Dante. It's not Brian Cage. Better not be Brian Cage. It's not Lance Archer. Even though I will say this, Brian Cage has been putting on spectacular in-ring performances. I don't think that's ever been the critique. It's the hoovering that he does of charisma. And then we have Eddie Kingston, Ethan Page, Bandito, and Roosh. Bandito and Roosh is going to be a banger. Holy
I think that's on Rampage, right? Kingston Page is on Dynamite.
Yes. I'm actually shocked that it's not flipped. But Bandito versus Roosh is going to be it's probably going to be one of the better matches in Rampage history. And that's saying something. Very
likely. I also think the other two, and thank you for laying this out, Archer versus Starks and Cage versus Dante Martin, also set for Rampage. Those matches also intrigue me. I know you said that the perils of Lance Archer's booking, he just sort of pops up randomly as the scary big guy. I think Starks versus Archer
it's going to be fun.
It's really intriguing. Starks getting Archer up for a Rochambeau potentially.
Yep. Well, so that's the thing. I like Lance Archer. I think he's good. I think he's got an engaging character. I know he's had some health issues, but they just haven't used him, and it's weird. It's just they bring him out whenever it's the same thing with Nyla. You got a new champ. It's time to dust off Nyla. It's time to dust off Lance. Have them be the first opponent in probably a bad program. It's a Texas death match, or it's something to do with cheeseburgers, and then there's a fight, and that's kind of it. Lance shows up on Dark and wins constantly to get his streak up so that they could put him in a title match, and then when he's actually in big moments, he'll kill the guy until he loses. And that's fine. I'd rather see Lance on TV more. Then we have Eddie and Ethan. I think Ethan wins. I can see Eddie winning if like MJF or Moxley or somebody gets involved and gets in Ethan's way, but I don't think that'll happen at the pay-per-view. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's Ethan Page moving on, and then he'll fight probably Roosh, and Ethan Page moves on. So I'm thinking it's going to be Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks, but the better matchup is Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks. And then who wins? I don't know. Probably Eddie. An Eddie MJF program.
Yeah. That's money. Do
Yeah.
you think it's too soon for a Ricky Starks world title match?
Yeah, because we know he's going to lose. So I'd rather have it wait. With Eddie, I mean, he's probably going to lose too, but at least there's that doubt, and we won't care because Eddie rules, and the promos are going to be next level. So
any shot of so much of this I think is dependent on who we think is going to walk out of Newark, New Jersey at Full Gear with the World Championship. So if MJF, this is not our Full Gear prediction yet, obviously, but I think you and I are aligned here, Brad, that MJF walks out of Full Gear as the new champ. Any chance of a Ethan Page versus MJF match? Because I think you and I believe MJF is going to turn heel at the pay-per-view. I think we might be underestimating Ethan Page's chances at winning, but I'm not sure that would make sense if the Firm and MJF come back together.
I don't think they're going to come back together. I think
you don't think so.
No, I think they needed the plan was probably for him to be a huge heel and CM Punk be a huge babyface.
Right.
But then none of that happened, and they needed a new babyface, and MJF was already so over. It's kind of hard to deny him being a babyface.
You think MJF babyface is going to be a thing?
Yeah, if MJF well, he's not really a babyface. He's shades of gray. He's still an a-hole. Like, it's a grade a-hole, and he's in it for himself. So
we all love, yeah.
Yeah, we just kind of love him. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? Like, he's just sort of like a deplorable human being. Like, you can't go out and just start, like, if you put it in the real world context, you can't go hurt your boss. We all fantasize about it, but like, he's kind of an a-hole. The dude stunned Santa out of his shoes.
Yeah, we did during Stone Cold's era. We still do now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not comparing MJF to Stone Cold because they're so unbelievably different, and the popularity isn't even close. But the idea right there is that he's just so great at what he does. He's over even being totally evil. I can see Ethan Page winning. Listen, Eddie Kingston, Ethan Page, Ricky Starks, any of those three on the mic, we're good. MJF,
three of the best in the company. Yep.
I would like it to be Ricky, but I don't want to see him lose right away. Ethan Page winning seems the most likely because of the Firm. I don't know if it'll be him, but he's a good opponent to have for MJF for his first title of defense. It furthers that Firm MJF storyline, which otherwise, what's the point of it? So I feel like that's what it's building toward, is a MJF versus the Firm, and maybe he gets in with Blackpool Combat Club because of, who knows? He won't be a part of it, but maybe he works with them. I don't know what'll happen, but Ethan Page seems likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks at Full Gear, and strictly off of wishful thinking, I'll go Ricky to win and to face MJF at Winter is Coming.
That's who I want. Yeah,
could totally see Ethan Page getting it, especially if you're right that MJF truly is breaking away from the Firm. MJF versus Ethan Page. That would make so much sense. It would be a great spot for Page. I mean, Brad, you and I for months have been calling for, who are the names we always repeat on the show? Miro, Ethan Page. There are women who I'm forgetting who we always want to see more of, right? I think it was like Riho for a long time and Hikaru Shida, amongst others. Ethan Page being in this spot, especially if he advances past Kingston, would be a huge look and would be something that we've been calling for a long time. The fact that Miro is nowhere to be seen is still pretty baffling. I'm so glad we saw House of Black this past week. That was a really spooky, awesome vignette for them.
Yes.
Brad, I just keep thinking like, man, we have one of my favorite wrestlers in the world who I don't know. Maybe you know, Brad. I don't know if he's still doing the TV pilot thing, if he's nursing an injury, but I just want more Miro. I want him at Full Gear. I don't know if it's going to happen though.
I think Fightful, at least Sean Ross Sapp in one of the live Q&A things was when people ask him, where's Miro? Is he injured or whatever? He's like, nope. Sounds like he's just at home. So he's just waiting.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me. Like, book him.
Yeah. I mean, even Miro versus MJF, like it's pretty fantastic. Again, I don't want Miro to take the big L, but I want him to be used.
Yeah. And I think to your point there is, well, I'll kind of save it for my question, but it's we've said this for feels like 7 months until Ring of Honor is out of there. It's the way it's going to be. I love the guys that are wrestling. I love the women that are wrestling, but they need to go elsewhere. They just need off AEW TV so it can go back to being AEW. It hasn't felt like AEW since ROH was acquired. It feels just too diluted and there's too many things going on, and too many of our favorite talents are sitting at home. And I hate it so much. And none of the belts feel like they matter anymore because there's just so many of them.
Yeah. And we know Tony Khan kind of, I think, checks the pulse of the fan base on social media. I think that the brass there have to know the complaints from so much of the fan base. It really, to me, seems that the ROH deal is imminent based on the emails and reports you read from Fightful and other places. I think they're just in this holding pattern of, once we get this deal, whether it's HBO or somewhere else, then we can start to move ROH there instead of taking up, nearly half of the show, half of Dynamite this past week. But like you said, I don't think it's just exclusive to you and I, Brad. I think a lot of the fan base feels the same way we do, that there needs to be that clear divide. But I think they're in a place where they're just trying to put a lot of shine on the product, and it feels a little bit inevitable. I just hope they land that deal soon, and I think it's going to be awesome for everyone.
Yeah, I think so too. Man, it's still a little baby show. It's still, what is it, 3 years old?
Right? Very, very, very much a baby show.
It's like a kid. Someday, maybe it'll grow up. And Tyler, it's time for someday when you have kids.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday when you have kids.
You're crazy.
Tyler, I was racking my brain, like, what could I do for someday when you have kids? And what came to mind was more time spent in that garage yesterday. So yesterday, while we were unearthing treasures from eons ago, from what year were you born?
I was born in 1993.
Yes, everything that I unearthed is from before you. The pirate ship, is 2 years older than you are, and at least maybe 3. And then, like, I got a couple of Legos from at least the early 80s, maybe late 70s, and those were my brothers. And I found a lunchbox. So my mother-in-law was kind enough and smart enough to know that I would probably want to keep some of this stuff. So when my parents were moving out and kind of selling everything, I didn't have room for it. So it was like, well, you'll have to sell it. They asked if I wanted it, but it was like, well, where am I going to put it in my apartment in New Glarus, Wisconsin? Like, I don't have storage, and I can't afford a storage unit. So we found this little plastic play school, like McDonald's Happy Meal box. It was a toy box gimmick that was absolutely known as a lunchbox, but it's this little 1974 McDonald's Happy Meal lunchbox. My guess is that somebody had it at a garage sale, otherwise known as a rummage sale from where I'm from. And at the rummage sale, they're probably selling it for a nickel or something. And my parents scooped it for my brother because neither of us were alive in 1974. So we found it. And inside of it were all those little, you get them in the plastic bubble quarter machine things. the little football helmets with the plastic face mask. You put the stickers on the side and the stripe if it has one. All the stripes are falling off. All the stickers are trash. I don't really care about the helmets, but Freya does. I never thought I'd see that thing again. I forgot it was even a thing that existed, and it came out of a bin, and I was like, this is so cool, because I forgot this was even a thing. And I was excited to see it, but I was so excited for Freya to see it and for Freya to get to play with it. And she brought it home last night and she couldn't stop playing with it, and she absolutely loved it. Tyler, that thing is 40 plus years old now. It's almost 50 years old. It's not young. It doesn't matter. Freya loves it. She thinks it's so cool to have like basically a Happy Meal plastic box that lasts forever. And I'm just so happy that she gets to have it and that I get to pass that down. And someday when you have kids, hopefully you have some things that you'll be able to pass down to them, and they'll get joy out of that, because there's nothing cooler than getting to see the smile on your kid's face. But especially if it's something that gave you joy when you were younger, now they get to have that too. That's just such a great feeling. And hopefully you get to experience that someday when you have kids.
Man, that seems like one of those hallmark parent, like those signature parent moments. I have nothing to add other than I love this segment. I love this most recent story. And I'm so glad Freya found so much joy in this item that brought you joy decades ago. That's incredible.
Yeah, and she definitely was curious about the pirate ship, but no way I'm sharing.
No, that is yours.
Tyler, my question for you for AEW is, I debated. I couldn't ask another women's question. I couldn't do it. I wanted to.
You were tempted.
What's been different booking wise in the women's division? Oh, nothing. That's
question.
it. Yes. Not a thing. Sky Blue cameo, and she has a match again this week.
Yeah, against Jamie Hayter, which she's going to lose, but
yes, absolutely going to get killed. Yeah. Great to see her on TV. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really been the only wrinkle. Riho returned and then lost, or won. Did a killer crossbody, but then it's just sort of been a lot of let's get all the women on the screen at once and have the woman segment, and then we'll move on from it, and then maybe we'll do a Jade backstage, or vice versa. We'll do backstage women segments, but Jade will be on screen. So like the Jade Marina match, which was really weird having Vicky and Nyla out there for. Everybody said the match was bad. I actually thought the match was fine. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It's like, I don't need them to have a great technical wrestling match. I like that they're just trying to beat the hell out of each other. That's what that match should be. Why do people anyway? It was a little weird, but it was also kind of entertaining and hard not to look at. So I was okay with it. But my question, I am all for having talent from outside of the company compete for belts, like the All Atlantic belt. That was fun. That was a fun match.
Shibata versus Orange Cassidy.
Wow,
one of my favorite moments from the week. So good.
Yeah, it was so good. But what does AEW need to do in order to get their employees on TV? AEW specific.
AEW, right? Not necessarily ROH.
Or New Japan, or
sure.
Noah, or GCW.
Sure. Well, on one hand, I think you have these dream matches. I know the All Atlantic match was marketed as a dream match, so of course that's exciting, and hopefully that brings eyeballs to the product and is well received by the fans, which I think Shibata versus Orange Cassidy was. But yeah, I think you just have to have these meaningful creative plans. I think once this ROH deal happens, hopefully there's a recognition of, man, this last year, 6 months to a year of programming for the company, although there's been very high highs, there's been this constant, like you said earlier, Brad, it just feels different than how Dynamite in particular used to. So I think it starts with creative plans. You have to have something meaningful for your wrestlers and these storylines that we can really buy into. I think Dynamite had so many of those last year, right? Specifically thinking of 2021. And I think this year, with the growth and expansion and trying to bring in so many talents, even Forbidden Door, right? I think even though Forbidden Door was amazing and we had a blast with that, I think that there's just been these other ventures and goals that have put the original AEW roster talent kind of on the back burner. So yeah, for me, it's just sort of I think starting with a clean slate, hopefully January 2023, and finding these storylines. Because like you said, if you're going to bring back a talent just for kind of a one-off match or just for a few weeks, okay. Like we've seen, I think some of in the women's division with say Riho, etc. But I think you need to just build these storylines that we can become invested in, because we know AEW is capable of that. But it seems like for the past few weeks and months, there's been these talents who are just kind of around without any clear direction, right? Or we had Hobbs and Starks. That was a feud, and then it seemed like for a few weeks, where are these guys? And now Hobbs is being thrown in with Wardlow, and now Starks has a clear mission and a clear goal of what he wants next. So for me, it's simply the creative, investing in these storylines where we can insert these talents and have something meaningful for them. Because I do dig talents having an off season, right? I think that's what's cool about AEW is a talent can go away and rest or invest in side projects for a couple months and then come back hotter than ever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just keep thinking about Miro, and if Miro is just waiting for something, it's nonsensical to me that you don't have a storyline for this guy. So I'm going more the creative route, especially if we can just start with a clean slate heading into the new year. But I want to hear what you're cooking up over there in Marana.
I don't really have a lot to add to you. I think just having meaningful creative. The issue is, how do you make meaningful creative for so many people? How do you fit a Miro in? Actually, I take all that back with the Miro in. Like, he was doing great with just those vignettes.
You can put him in anywhere. Yeah, a 2-minute, 90-second, 60-second vignette, 30 seconds even.
Like what they did with House of Black.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on with Andrade. I know there was some sour grapes there because he said thanks for the birthday shout outs because AEW accounts didn't recognize it was his birthday, which is an oversight. But it's being run as a business, but it's not run as a corporation, and it needs to be run as a corporation if you're going to have all of these different facets. It's absolutely that content strategy stuff. Like, you drop the ball because you're forgetting pieces and elements because you don't know who's doing what. There has to be a workflow somewhere. There has to be some sort of thing that has all of the things you need to do in the same place for that person to be successful. It's not happening, and they're not really doing that with creative. It feels like a lot of it is like genius level Tony Khan stuff. Like, I am an incredible genius. I know all the stuff that's in my head. That's perfect. But if it's not in your head at that moment, you're going to forget. Like, Miro clearly isn't in your head right now. Andrade clearly isn't in your head right now. There's all this stuff that's going on that's not happening that I don't understand. Like, I love that FTR has been back and doing stuff, but they've been doing run-ins and not wrestling on the show. So let them wrestle. I want to see FTR wrestle. I want to see the Acclaimed wrestle, but I want to see FTR wrestle. I want to see Miro wrestle. I want to see Miro in the ring. I want to see his vignettes. I want to see House of Black back. And I know that's more complicated, and I'm glad we're getting that. My guess is they're going to pull the trigger on that at Full Gear. But probably, I mean, either that or right before it. And if not right before it, the show right after.
Yeah. And we do have the Elite just hanging there. We're getting these vignettes about, delete the Elite. And it seems like they're teasing, okay, Elite are coming back. House of Black could be back. I mean, that's injecting life into that trios division immediately.
Yeah.
Pac is turning heel.
The Elite's probably coming back they're coming back as heels, huh? That feels like
get cheered though, right?
I think they have to get cheered, but they're going to come. I think they're going to come back and try to spin it, but I don't know, because the way they're doing the delete the Elite and they keep showing like their titles evaporating and going to somebody else. That stuff feels like heel. I have a problem with you people kind of stuff. So I don't know. Maybe they'll come back and go like, we got to earn it back and that kind of thing, and then there'll be baby faces. But I don't really know. So they're doing a good job of setting up all of this talent that's missing. God, I hope Adam Cole gets healthy. They just had a murderer's row of incredible talent that all got injured or suspended all at once. And it's been a little bit lighter, but it's still been really good. And I know they're like relying on younger talent and talent they maybe wouldn't get those spots, but Bro, Miro's sitting right there.
It's hard not to kind of go back to him every time because
Lance Archer
yeah,
is sitting there. He's
yeah,
just doing stuff on
yeah,
Dark.
great veteran.
Yeah, there's so much. What are we doing? Emi Sakura could be on the main roster. I know she's wrestling and she's also more of a coach than anything else,
Mhm,
but like she's great in the ring. Like let her do a couple of matches.
mhm.
There's all kinds of people that could be doing more.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's just been these are the growing pains that we
Yeah.
just keep harking back on. It's this year I think has been probably the most, maybe not even the most, but it's probably inarguable. It's been the most tumultuous year in AEW history.
Yeah.
They've just hit some absolute grand slams, no pun intended, but also like you said with the backstage stuff and the injuries, and which maybe not necessarily any fault of their own for the injuries. There's just been some low moments and moments of like, oh wow, I thought I loved this product. What what's going on here? Of course,
Yeah.
WWE is not immune to this either, right? We've had criticisms, I guess you could say, ad nauseum about some of their booking. But yeah, AEW is in a really fascinating place. I'm just hoping that they can start with that proverbial clean slate in 23 and get back to the booking and the programming um, details that we really enjoyed from Dynamite and even early Rampage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just
hope.
all of the fresh stuff that AEW had, WWE right now feels like it has all the fresh stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Even down to stuff that we didn't expect, man. Like Natalia coming up and having blood coming out of her nose. That
Yeah.
felt fake to me, but maybe it wasn't. I don't know if she got her nose broke by a running knee because she was flailing around going like this on the ground and stuff, and then the trainer came over and then we saw the blood. So I don't know, but like to have blood on TV at all was like whoa. And the camera zoomed in close. If that close up shot happened, that was on purpose, which makes me think that was totally fake to sell a point. But yeah, I didn't expect to see blood on the screen, even if it is fake blood, like at all in WWE, unless it's an accident that happened. So they just feel like everything is sort of fresh. And then every once in a while, the WWE book it.
Yeah, and if Vince was still in charge, who's to say that, I think for the fan base right now, we're probably kind of leaning more WWE centric because of Triple H and not to say the Triple H era has been seamless because example,
Raw's been kind of bad.
Example, Hit Row. Not great.
Yes.
Not great since about week 2 of their re-debut. But if I just think in an alternate universe, if Vince was still around and we still had those sort of Vince and Bruce-esque TV shows, we would probably maybe be a little more kind of AEW at the moment. But I do think WWE's done a lot well, and we know wrestling is at its best when there's competition.
I'm hoping we're all being swerved and that CM Punk comes back to AEW as a monster heel. I really do. I think it would be great. I think it sounds like it's a piece of crap and that nobody respects him back there, but who knows what's real and what's not. And also, I don't care if he's a piece of crap. I like him on the screen. I just enjoy his work.
Yeah. And his, even though our judgment is a little bit clouded with that press conference from Brawl Out.
Yeah.
That
was gross.
But
it was just gross.
Yeah. Before that, I mean, the Punk in AEW run was pretty tremendous.
Yeah.
The matches, the storylines, it was great. But Brad, going back to things we don't expect, I have something that is probably unexpected for a lot of our fan base, and that is the epic return.
Let's go.
Of Hot Take Ty. Please play my music.
And now it's time for Hot Take Ty. Spicy.
Brad, so it was in the works for a while. You and I behind the scenes have been discussing the segments we have on the show and bringing some of our oldies back. And it felt right that Hot Take Ty would return today. I have some quick thoughts for you. I listened to the new 21 Savage and Drake release, Her Loss, over the weekend. And initially I was pretty high on it. I thought, oh man, Drake is rapping. This is a good sign. But then I really thought about one song in particular, and I will get to my specific hot take here. It's not just about the album. So Drake has this song on this collaborative project with 21 titled Middle of the Ocean. And there's been a lot of coverage about this song in particular. There was some great wordplay, some great sports references, which we know Drake is known for. But there are 2 points in the song. One, 2 shots he takes. So Petty Drake is back. One, he takes a shot. Unfortunately, there's a bad pun there at Megan Thee Stallion, and essentially claiming he's on Tory Lanez' side. Tory Lanez is an R&B singer from Canada. Tory Lanez allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot, I think, at a party. So he's defending Tory Lanez. He basically calls out Megan Thee Stallion for not being truthful about this story. So no one was asking for Drake's opinion on this, but he just inserted it in the song. And then he also takes a shot at Serena Williams, tennis star, tennis goat, Serena Williams' partner, for, I don't know, just simply existing. I forget the exact bar he delivers, but it's a clear shot. Yeah, he says Serena's guy in the song. And it made me reflect. Well, first, it made my enjoyment of the project really dissipate. Like, as I listened to the song more and more, I just thought, man, this leaves me with a bad taste. I'm not even as excited for this slick wordplay of these sports teams anymore, because Drake is in his 30s now. He's a father, and I just am not here for slandering Megan Thee Stallion or even Serena's partner. Like, they just seem happy, they're living their best lives, and why do you need to insert this? So my hot take here, Brad, is officially, I think I've outgrown Drake's music. Drake has been my favorite artist for a long time. So Far Gone, Take Care, etc. I think I've outgrown his music, and I don't enjoy it anymore. I don't enjoy the petty shots, or it just all seems unnecessary and very CM Punk-esque of maybe this dude is really a heel. He has his good moments, but maybe he's actually kind of a jerk IRL. So my question for you here, Brad, as I wrap up my hot take, is, do you have any artists that come to mind immediately? You reached a point where I guess music artists in particular, where you just realize, oh, wow, I maybe enjoyed this when I was, say, 17 or 23, but I'm just at a point now where I've outgrown their music. Does that resonate with you, with any artists in particular?
Yeah, like a ton of them. It's basically everything that I listened to in high school that was like metal, especially like new metal or some kind of, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's almost like technic metal. I'm trying to think of what are some of the bands besides System of a Down and like Korn and a few others. It's like their new albums come out, and I'm like, I don't know about this. And then my taste changed. I grew up and I started paying attention to lyrics more than just remembering the lyrics, really thinking about the lyrics. You're like, they didn't say anything. They just, words are repeated over and over again. This is like mindless drivel.
Yeah.
And
shout out Soulja Boy. Yep.
Oh, painful.
We all had the ringtone back then. People still do the Soulja Boy at weddings, right?
What's the name of that band? Oh, Fear Factory. I loved some Fear Factory growing up. Limp Bizkit, first 2 albums. $3 Bill, y'all, loved it. Nookie, not nearly as much. Too heavy on the white guy rapping. I liked $3 Bill, y'all, though. That was better to me. But
Fred Durst, probably a heel in real life.
Yeah. Especially after the Woodstock stuff.
Yes. Yes.
I liked Korn a lot, but like when you're singing about your daddy issues and you're 55, I'm good. There's probably more that I can't think of, or that I just felt like, oh, I shouldn't listen to this. And then I grew up out of that too. It's like, why am I listening to this stuff that I don't identify with, or that misrepresents me in a way just because I want to be something that I'm not? I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there was stuff that I was listening to because everybody was, or actively avoiding stuff because I didn't think it would be cool to listen to it. that was definitely a thing that actually grew into things later in life versus grew out of them. But yeah, I would say the stuff that's like a lot of that metal stuff doesn't really say anything. It's just, and I know people might hear this and go like, that's not true. Like, you're full of shit. It doesn't say anything. It's just anger and repetitive stuff. God, Shine Down. What else is in there? I know Fear Factory I already said. And then there's the God, who wrote When Worlds Collide? Can't remember. Worlds Collide. It's like something Power Man 5000. I can't remember what they were called. That was like Astro Man.
I've never heard of it.
Power Man 5000.
I've heard of Afro Man, but not Astro Man.
Power Man 5000 and Astro Man was just something in my head because I think I'm merging that with Rob Zombie or White Zombie Astro Freak 2000. Listen to that as well. Good album, but same thing, man. Like I can't listen to that stuff now and it'd be like, oh yeah, I remember listening to this, but also like, why did I listen to this? I don't know, it's drivel. But there's in terms of artists that I've come along with growing out of them. I think my experience has just been different. I think I just grew out of them and away from them. I haven't like gone to listen to the new Korn album since probably Freak on a Leash or whatever the one that came out after that. Mm-hmm. I did get that and I listened to it like 3 times and probably sold it. So that's
yeah. Well, I appreciate your reflection on this. I figured you would have some artists that fit this description for you.
Yeah,
I just had this moment,
power, and I appreciate you letting me talk through my thinking.
I'm sure this resonates with a lot of the audience. I just also had this moment. I don't know that I'm very hip to the artists you mentioned, but I had this moment of reflecting on the Drake lines and just thinking that's just not a nice thing to do. And then also recognizing, I remember coaching basketball at Marana High School, Brad, coaching the freshman boys basketball team. What a time. So grateful for those kids and my colleagues there. And I remember like, at practice or when we would go to games, host games or go to away games, I think the playlist would consist of Drake, 21 Savage, Roddy Ricch, all of these people. Some people I hadn't really heard of. But to me, it just seems like, okay, this is an album that's going to be played at high school basketball games, which is not really my playlist anymore. Like you, it's not just about leaving artists behind. It's more you stepping into artists that you just enjoy now, or maybe it just resonates with you as you enter a different stage of your life. So I had this moment of like, I don't think Drake is marketed for me anymore. I'm not about petty beefs and just other topics in his music, which makes me a little sad, but I think it's time for me to shift my palette a bit.
What is weird having public or private confrontations come out as content. It is very CM Punk like. It's the stuff you're mad about because people said something in public and then voicing that in public. I don't know. Like I don't like that. That's using your platform in a really stupid way.
And he's already made it. Like the dude is arguably the biggest rapper in the world. Advertisements galore, money galore, and then to use your platform to call out a Black woman, a fellow artist in the industry. I don't know Drake. Obviously, don't know Megan Thee Stallion, but I just am not here for you using your platform for that. I thought it was a very curious choice.
I think last thought here is that doing the petty thing and performing like that. I don't know. There's something to be said about Bruno Mars, who has won basically every Grammy he's been nominated for, going, I'm not entering my album this year. I'm not entering it we're not submitting it to the Grammys. And I think it's specifically so he doesn't win, because he's got all these trophies on the shelf. Nobody else is winning because when he goes in there, he's winning. I'm not saying he was going to win this time. I don't know. I haven't listened to the album at all. I haven't listened to much of his stuff. Like when it's on, I'm like, cool, Bruno's awesome. But I don't go out of my way to do it.
You didn't have Doo-Wops and Hooligans, the first album?
No, I didn't.
I did actually on the iPod.
I definitely have songs from it though. Yeah.
Okay, very good. We all do.
I think that that's probably universal truth. But that's the thing. It's like cool. He recognizes I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to make a song about just winning them all the time. He just sort of, I won a whole bunch. I'm successful. I'm just going to do the right thing here and go like other people deserve the shine, because if other people win, maybe it launches their career even further. Maybe it's like a person that's not making a ton of money, but now they win this award and it might bring them in some money and set them for life and their family for life. And I respect the heck out of that stuff, but I also understand the grind to get there, and stepping on people on the way up is probably what happens with a lot of people. The fact that Drake's doing after he's already all the way up, it's like I got Julius Caesar quotes popping into my head about certain ladders. So it just bugs me about him.
Yeah. Well, Brad, clearly I have no interest in re-listening to that 21 and Drake album this week, but I do have some things I'm looking forward to. So I'll share mine, then I want to hear what your week is looking like. In terms of what I'm looking forward to, two things come to mind. First, Atlanta season 4 is releasing its final episode, and this is not even just a season finale, Brad. This is a series finale. Last episode of Atlanta is coming up this week on Thursday on FX, and then available on Hulu. I'm stoked for it. I can't wait. And then even before that, I'm kind of going out of order. I will try to be brief on this. We know Tuesday across the country here in the United States, really big deal. It is election day. Specifically thinking about our beloved state of Arizona. I am trying to remain optimistic, but as much as I don't try to project on here and with you, I'm a bit of a nervous wreck for Tuesday. I'm concerned about some of our key elections here, but hopeful that our candidates who appeal to me, who believe in democracy and other important topics, I hope they pull through. But yeah, man, just hoping everyone votes for the candidate that speaks to them, and that we have as good of a turnout as the last one, if not better. So Tuesday election, hopefully I'll be able to sleep until then. And then Thursday, closer to the end of the week, we have the end of one of my favorite shows, Atlanta. So those are my two highlights. But what's going on with your week?
Veterans Day. I get a day off on Friday.
Yes. Shout out
looking
to our
forward
veterans.
to that. Yes. Thank you to the vets.
Absolutely.
I am looking forward to the election being over, as much as I am hesitant to be excited for the election. Because I'm like you, I'm nervous about some of the stuff on there, and some of the like the legislative ballots seem like it's a vote for a lot of power to give the legislative branch that they could just do unilaterally without putting it to a vote. And I did not like that. But and then we have our respective candidates, but it's the spam, it's the mail, it's the constant stream of hundreds and hundreds, probably millions of dollars worth of propaganda that has been kicked out everywhere. While you go, we don't have the money to help with all of these other avenues. Everybody's spending millions of dollars to get signs and send out mail.
Democrat, Republican, everyone.
I don't care who it is. You're pissing your money away on getting elected to get that position of power where you say do something, when you could have pooled all your money together collectively and done something. Instead, you're trying to stomp on each other. And I'm looking forward to the end of such negative campaigning. I haven't gotten anything in the mail that has said, this is why I'm awesome. It's all been, this is why the other person sucks. And this is why they're evil and dangerous and fraudulent and all of this stuff. And I'm like, all I know is I don't trust anybody now. All I know is that all of the people that are up for elections must be murderers. I am so looking forward to that being over. I know that's quasi negative here, but I'm really looking forward to that being out of my life. I just want to go out there and get my bills from LabCorp. Thank you very much. I don't need
your occasional package from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yes, the occasional package for Pro Wrestling Tees. Lots and lots and lots of boxes for me this week as I Christmas shop. I'm almost done. I got one more thing to get, and then stocking stuffers. Yeah, I finish early. I don't want to do this. I hate Christmas shopping. I hate
not wait until Black Friday. Already getting some good deals.
I'm not getting up early. We'll vulture shop on Black Friday. It's my favorite thing to do. Go at like 10 a.m.
Yeah, the
store's already dead. Most of it's picked over. We'll pick the carcass clean.
Cyber Monday, even, right?
Cyber Monday.
Usually those deals are just as good as Friday.
Yeah, or just there's always the Monday before Black Friday. Whatever. You know what? I know what I want to get Jess. I got to figure out how to do it and how to sneak it and how she doesn't see it, because it's hard navigating that space where it's like you share a bank account.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to a lot of things. I'm looking forward to the week, looking forward to the 3-day weekend. I'm looking forward to working on school. A lot of good things going on. And I'm looking forward to getting back into that car. Cannot wait to drive that thing again.
Yes, I love to hear it. Well, if you all are feeling even slightly anxious, like Brad and I about Tuesday, we have a potential remedy for you. Brad, I mentioned Atlanta, but even ahead of Atlanta, we have the conclusion of Peelcast, a project near and dear to our heart. We've spoken about it on the last few episodes of GI. So we will have the 4th and final installment released on Tuesday. On this particular final episode, Brad, myself, and our special guest, Jabari Davis of iHeartMedia, are specifically wrapping up the conversation about Jordan Peele's work, looking at ranking Jordan Peele's films. That would be Nope, Us, and Get Out. And then we also shed light on what we think his legacy is. Obviously, he is not done, knock on wood, by any means with his art, but we spent some time thinking about what his work has meant for the culture and what we're going to remember him for through these 3 pieces. Please check it out. Brad has done amazing on the tech end of things, on the art end of things, and it is, again, our final installment for a project that was and is really special to us. Brad, anything you want to say about the conclusion of Peelcast Part 4?
No, just appreciate the support. The more you can like, you can comment, you can share. I know all podcasts say that, all YouTubers say that, but like subscribing to the 19 Media channel is really important for our metrics, and liking and commenting is really helpful. You can find us on this feed. You can find this on the Peelcast exclusive feed. If you subscribe to that and you don't subscribe to this, that's fine too. I don't know how you're getting this currently otherwise. But please go out there and subscribe to both. Even if you don't listen to it right away, that's fine. It helps us out. And give us a 5-star review. That would be really helpful as well. We hope to do it again when Jordan Peele decides to do another project and announce it. I'm sure we'll be back in it, doing another recording. What do we hope to see? That kind of thing. And then our thoughts afterward. I think we're just big fans, and we're really excited about this. So please check it out. If you haven't seen the films, maybe this is an opportunity to get to know about them. Spoiler city, but it's maybe it'll make you go, oh wow, I actually do want to see this now. And otherwise, you can watch it and then go back and listen to what we thought about rankings and about the films, and leave your comments. That would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for being here, and we will see you on the next episode of Gimmick Infringement. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Good Pods, our premier partners, and Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.